How's it going, everybody? This is your Astrology Horoscope for Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moonbase. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. Yesterday, we had this Chiron North Node conjunction go exact, so now we're starting to, be willing to face a lot of what's come up, especially what's been leading up to this moment. And it's been very gradual up until this conjunction point. But with this moon in Cancer, it's kind of really activating the depths of that today, emotionally. So I think we can feel pulled in multiple directions today, and we don't have any planets in Capricorn anymore. So it's harder, it seems harder to find stability, even though the place where we are finding stability is with this oncoming Sun-Saturn conjunction, and Mercury will be there as well. So, we want to really surrender. I think that's what this Pisces season is all about, is the art of surrender. And with this moon in Cancer today, activating a T-square with this North Node, Chiron, South Node, in Libra, Chiron opposing the South Node, I think we could kind of feel pulled in multiple directions, and our emotions can seem a little unhinged today. And, I think there can be a lot of necessary kind of emotional kind of collapse, or what can feel like a collapse, right? Like an opening, where it's like, imagine you haven't cried in 10 years, and today is just this kind of downpour of emotions that just the floodgates open, and it's just ready to finally pour out. I think we're kind of hitting that point, and it's very critical to be in that place. We've been going through Pluto and Capricorn, and we've had so many planets in Capricorn where it's just like, boys don't cry kind of attitude. Now it's like, we all got to cry. Sometimes, especially when some really painful shit comes up with this North Node Chiron, because this is a really painful transit for a lot of people. The readings that I've had over the past week has been very, very vulnerable and very emotional, and I think vulnerability through this North Node Chiron transit's one of the most important things, and to not hold on that. Hold up that Capricorn kind of mask, right? Like today's a day where it's just, you want to let the tears fall. You want to let the emotions pour out. You want to speak from your heart, speak from your gut, speak from the womb, so to say, with this moon in Cancer squaring the nodes here. And there's multiple perspectives coming in, we want to find balance where we can ultimately become better versions of ourselves. And I think that's what this is all about. And as unstable as it can feel, where we can stability is with this Sun and Saturn and Pisces. Pisces isn't the most stable either. Let's be real. But with Saturn here, it's teaching us. It's like, you want to find stability, you got to know how to surrender. Surrender to the unseen, surrender to the spiritual, surrender to God, surrender to your higher power, surrender to source, surrender to what is bigger than you. This is a very humbling transit with this North Node Chiron, and if you're in situations where it's just you're in conflict, like there's definitely conflict going on. There's massive confliction with this North Node Chiron, South Node Libra, and this moon in Cancer. Like this is some conflict here, emotional conflict, especially just in our very personal, very personal areas of our lives, especially when it's connected to ourselves and our home life and our family life and our relationships. This is some very personal shit, it's painful, it's emotional, where things are imbalanced, it's striving for balance, and the wounds are really starting to pop up and show up, and we're starting to see, ourselves getting to the other side of it, and it's coming to a head. It's all starting to come to a head now. Wherever these kinds of issues are, like it's getting to that point. It's a tipping point. All right. So the stability lies in willing to surrender and let go and not hold on and, live and let God. And whatever that is for you, because this Mars and Pluto and Venus as well is just like, some of the most brutal, intense shit is coming up. It can be volatile. It could be, sexual. It can be, magnetic. It can be unbreakable. It's very conflicting, very confusing, very dynamic energy at this time. Mars and Venus are going to square Jupiter here, and Venus squaring Jupiter, Jupiter being in Venus's ruling sign. A lot of self-worth issues are going to start to pop up here. A lot of masculine, feminine issues are going to start to pop up, especially, when it comes to your values and what that is, and what that looks like in our relationships. And, do you have the resources to sustain, what it is like we don't have the resources to just keep perpetuating these same old patterns, right? That's kind of what I'm feeling about this. This chart here is that we don't have the time, we don't have the resources to just keep playing out the same BS. This is where it's we have to be willing to just face this shit head on and be willing to just, cave into the feelings and the emotions and acknowledge the feelings and the emotions with this moon in Cancer. And any sorts of self-worth issues and masculine, feminine issues that are going to be popping up over the next week, it's going to be affecting us on a very deep emotional level, not necessarily intellectual. Even though it is Mars and Venus and Aquarius, it's still, we're in Pisces season now. This is all about the emotional state of our souls and our well-being. I think we had enough kind of mental, intellectual energy through Aquarius season. That was just so intense and so wild. I think we really have wanted to get to this more emotional, spiritual place because it was so intense during Aquarius season. But the irony is coming into it is this North Node Chiron. But, it's better that we're actually starting to get to a place where we can face it now and not just let this ball and chain just keep dragging us in circles. That's kind of what it felt like. And I've said this many times over the past couple weeks. It's man, North Node and Chiron's been at 16 degrees, but the conjunction's not exact. And it's just this slow, lulling weight that we're pulling just to get to this place. It's well, now we're here. Now we're facing it. And now the emotions are ready to just come out. And, it's not easy. This is not an easy transit, and yesterday when the moon's trined over to Saturn, it was reminding us, it's you want that emotional stability. You gotta be willing to surrender and give in and not be just fixated on what you want to control and what you want the outcome to be. The outcome is always going to be what it's supposed to be and what it's meant for its divine purpose. That's how things always play out. If you're really following your path and you're connected to yourself and source, that's how things play out, and it's always meant to be the way it's supposed to be. And we have so much free will in this reality, and that's debatable across all fronts here, but it's we do put in the work, but towards what our purpose is. And when we're aligned with that, that's when we get to where we're supposed to go. And we always end up in the right place. And that's when the synchronicities always show up and always pop up. And every time they do, we're like, yes, I knew it. I knew it. You know. Or maybe for some, and I know a lot of people too, it's like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that happened. Like, that was a magical thing. It's like, well, was it magical? Because you could really deduct down your experience and see, well, of course, this is what happened here. This is what led to this. And we went through this, and this is what led to here. And then it always seems like synchronicity, but it was meant to happen anyway. It was going to happen anyway. And, you know, that was the purpose. Sorry. So with this moon in Cancer today, it's bringing up so many deep emotions, and it's bringing up those deep wounds that this Chiron North Node is really asking us to face, you know? And I think later in the day, this moon's gonna, later in the morning, well, still early, but the moon's going to make a sextile over to Uranus. So after this square happens, and to me, what that feels like on an emotional level is that we can finally find new ways of moving through this pain, so to say, right? Find new ways to find healing in very strange, odd ways. Right. And I think information and kind of messages can kind of come through us if we're really tapping into our emotions today about where to take steps towards that. If we're really being open and not being stubborn and holding on to things here. We still have all these Aquarius planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. It's just like, oh, like, you know, it's easy to get stuck mentally, you know, during this kind of watery time, you know. It's like we don't want to remain stuck right now. We don't want to remain fixed and trying to control things and also being too detached mentally. It's like we want to embrace the emotions with this moon in Cancer. So the sun is out of its detriment. The sun is in Pisces. You know, I love the sun in Pisces. That's just my personal take. You know, and Mars and Venus both have 5 degrees now. So, and they won't make their conjunction until later, but, you know, they're getting closer here. So it's like our masculine and feminine kind of energy and our connections are really wanting to connect in a positive way. But while this kind of really intense emotional energy too is happening, there's this kind of disconnect, you know. It's not connecting fully yet, you know. As we go through this week, that'll change a bit, you know, and Chiron gets further off the North Node, and it's like, okay, like we're starting to get clarity. We can be more realistic about this stuff and not just be caught up in the feelings and be caught up in the emotions. It's kind of how it feels right now. But at the same time, it's like, it's just, we can't get stuck, you know, and we want to find new, innovative ways to, you know, deal with these emotions, to be more stable, you know, because things are not the most stable right now. But surrendering to the moment, surrendering to the energy, to spirit, whatever, is probably the most important place we can be. And Pisces season always teaches us that. So if you have 12th house placements, Pisces placements, strong Neptune placements, you know this energy best. I sure do, myself, personally. So, you know, fixed placements have a tough time with this. They really do. It's hard for them to comprehend what this truly is. Or Virgo, anybody with a Virgo placement, right? It's like, what do you mean surrender? It's like, I can't just control it. Like, I can't just put it in order and figure it out and put logic to it. No, like, Sure, Mercury's in Aquarius right now, but with the sun, Saturn, Neptune in Pisces, the moon in Cancer, logic seems to kind of go out the window. This defies all logic. That's what and it's like, and what I mean by that is that, like, whatever is arising in our personal lives emotionally, it's, it's coming from a higher place, and it's a message from a higher place that now is the time to actually start acknowledging these things. Like this is the divine moment where that opening was gonna happen. It wasn't last week or last month, even though we wanted it to be, and it wasn't. Now is the time. Now is the divine time, says this Chiron North Node, right? There is no logic to put to why that is, why that this is the moment that it's all happening, and that this is the tipping point, even when there's many sectors and different things and many facets happening all at once. Like, you can't really put any logic to that. You can try all you want right now, and it won't really lead you anywhere other than more questions. You can ask questions all day, but can you feel it? Can you intuit that? Can you really digest it in your heart and in your soul? That's the thing about this Mercury in Aquarius. Like, I like Mercury in Aquarius, but it can really get really overstimulating, way too much, and detached mentally. So with this moon in Cancer today, it's like we want to be as present in our emotions as we can be, right? If possible. And, this is, like I said, this is the divine moment. And, as we get into the evening, we're going to see this nice little trine from the moon over to Neptune today. Well, tonight. So as we're going to sleep, we're going to fall asleep with some nice little moon Neptune energy, which I love. I love this watery energy, The moon at 26, Neptune at 26, but Mercury also at 26, making a little odd end conjunction over to Mercury. So it is. This is kind of what I was saying. I haven't even looked at this chart. I'm just saying, like, this is kind of what I was just saying. It's just not getting fixed on trying to control things mentally. The emotions have to just flow, and you have to feel them, and you have to just let them happen. The more we try to fixate with this Mercury in Aquarius, the more difficult it's going to be, and the harder it's going to be to wrap our minds around things. Because, like, this is such beautiful water energy that we're in right now. We kind of needed this for a minute. With the whole Pluto and Aquarius, Mars, Venus, Mercury, blah, all the Aquarius energy. This is kind of the sign right here. It's like, all right, we're starting to move out of that, and we're starting to move into the more emotional, spiritual place, and saying, hey, I'm willing to surrender. And I will say, like, this is happening at nighttime, so I'd really pay attention to your dreams tonight. I think we're going to have some really active dream spaces tonight, very much so. And we could probably get some deep flashes into what we're feeling and what we're facing with this Chiron North Node. And it's definitely connected to our relationships here. We do need some answers. We want answers right now, but the answers aren't going to come out in trying to, define them with words or to put it on paper. We can only really define them with our feelings at this moment. So, in these subconscious places, or in the synchronicities, or in the connections that are going to be made throughout your day, and definitely in your dream states overnight, I feel like can give you the best insight that you need right now, more than your logical brain can give you at this moment. That's only going to give you more problems and more questions to ask, and routes to take and complications. Language can get very complicated and it can fuck shit up. We know that. Feelings, you can't, you can't really deny what those are. I'm a musician. I'm a music producer. I grew up touring in a band, playing in front of thousands of people, right? And I always found it fascinating that, you could witness groups of people disagreeing with one another and fighting and arguing and whatever, and then you can get the same people in a room with a large audience and music playing, and everybody's there experiencing one feeling, one vibration, and that is undeniable, right? But when the words and the language gets involved, it just totally fucking ruins it, right? So that's kind of what this right here is saying to me and reminding me of, And that's what I always loved about playing music, is that what I had to go through as a young person and trying to turn off the noise, and I dealt with that with music. I'm a 12th house sun, Mercury, Venus. That's how I deal with that shit. It's music, art, spirituality. And, obviously astrology is a part of that. It's the same language to me. And yeah, I mean, it really is about what your heart and your feelings are speaking to you at this moment. In Aquarius season, it was not that way. It was not that way. So I'm very glad to be here, and I'm very glad that we're finally getting to this Chiron North Node, so we can actually just get this show on the road, right? I mean, there's so much that we've needed to face. There's so much. I mean, we've put it off, or we just go in the same patterns and the same circles over and over and over and over and over, and you never find solutions, And what I've experienced is that, because we're sitting here just talking about it. We're trying to define it with words. And at this moment, it really is just acknowledging the feelings and not trying to define it and just letting it happen, letting the feelings happen, and trusting that it's going to take you to the place that we all need to be. And that's what Pisces season always teaches us, is that when we cross over into the unknown, Temperance. I got the Temperance card today. So to me, this is always a very Aquarian card, right? And Aquarius gives the water to the fish, right? So it is this new dawn of this new frequency of willing to just let go of any sort of control and trusting that the divine has every hand in what we're experiencing and what we're going through right now, even if it's painful, even if it's not what we wanted it to look like and not, what our ego wanted it to be or how we wanted it to play out. It never really truly is, especially in a Chiron North Node moment. That can be very challenging towards what we wanted the outcome to look like. But it's definitely what it was supposed to be, and it's going to be what it's supposed to be, And we want to really, trust that, this is getting us to a better place and that, we can't just control everything. We are not in control at this moment. There's a divine hand in, every experience that we're having right now. And in Pisces season, that's what it's all about, especially with Saturn, Sun, Neptune in Pisces. We're going to have Mercury in Pisces with the Sun and Saturn conjunct. We have to be able to trust the divine and give it to, something greater than us, and that's what Aquarius does, is it gives its life force to the divine, so the current can flow, whether it's electrical or emotional or, the dam can have a clear pathway for the water to flow through to give life. That to me, that's what temperance is all about. That's what the temperance card is all about. So, yeah, today is a very powerful, emotional day. And just, not be, just try not to be too stuck in that Aquarius stuff. We're getting out of it. So, we still have Mars and Venus to deal with. But once Mercury gets into Pisces, it'll be a little easier to be in that place. Even though Mercury's not the most successful in Pisces, I think we've dealt with so much fixed energy for too long, in my opinion. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out.